computer. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to my talk. I'm talking today with Marlene Woolgar, who I know to be a very good trance medium and mental medium as well, and who's also, I think, a very good writer of poems and short stories, which she puts on her Facebook every now and then. So really nice. So welcome, Marlene. I'm very happy you would join me today. Sun's out here, so it's looking to be a wonderful day. I don't know how it is in the UK where you live.
It's a little bit overcast at the moment.
Oh.
I'm hoping we're not going to get a big cloud over us.
No, me too. Let's keep for the sunshine. So what I ask everybody that comes to talk to me is, my first question is always, what brought you onto this path of spirituality?
Right. Well, from a child, I was aware of the spirit world. I could see people nobody else could see. And I used to find that quite frightening, understandably. But I think it was back in the early 90s. I was in Brighton with some friends of ours from the Midlands who'd come down to visit. And we were wandering around the lanes in Brighton, which I don't know if you've ever visited the lanes, but it's a very famous part of Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lot of ancient history as well, and is often used for ghost walks around Brighton. Mm. But on this particular day, we came across this tiny little shop that sold crystals, and we went in because my friend was collecting crystals. She used to collect them wherever she went. And while she was looking at all the crystals, I was picking up some leaflets, and there was a leaflet there about the Sussex Healers Association. And I'd always wanted to learn how to heal. So I took a leaflet, and when my friends had gone back and I met up with my friend Sue, I showed her the leaflet. And we enrolled with the Sussex Healers Association so that we could go on their 2-year course to learn how to heal.
Yeah.
Well, probably about 2 or 3 weeks into the course, the teacher took us to one side and she said she was starting a circle, a development circle, and she thought that we should join it. Well, in my head, I'm thinking, circle, what is that? Is that a coven? I didn't know what a circle was. I had visions of us all dancing naked around a fire or something.
Oh, goodness.
And so I said to her, what is a circle? And she said, it's a development group for mediums. And of course, I'd heard of people like Doris Stokes and that. And in fact, I'd been to one of her shows back in the 80s. And I said, what, you think we can do it? And she said, oh, most definitely. So we joined the circle, and that is where it began. And it was so lovely being with people who'd have the same experience as me as children, and people that were on the same wavelength.
Yeah. So
instead of feeling a bit like a square peg in a round hole, as I had at school, because I was nicknamed Witch there, and that's another story. I was suddenly with people that understood how I felt, and I really felt as if I'd come home in a way, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is how I came onto this path.
And did you start in a healing circle, or was it immediately mediumship that happened?
Oh no, I carried on with training for the healing group, and the development group for mediumship was on a different day. So I was doing 2 days a week, one doing the mediumship. So they were kept separate.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because a lot of the times you hear that healing and mediumship sort of go together, but that wasn't the case then.
Yeah, I suppose mediumship is healing anyway, isn't it? Because you get somebody come to see you who has just lost someone that they loved. And when a complete stranger, such as me or any other medium, can give them such specific information that maybe sometimes only they and that person knew, that must be healing in its own way. So
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And well, and I know you do mediumship, but I know you mostly from trance mediumship. A couple of years ago, Marlene came to Germany to do, I think you came twice even, to do a workshop in trance. It's amazing. If you ever get a chance to see her, it's great. But you told us then that there was once when you were in trance, that there was a fire alarm going off or something.
Yes, I was
That
working.
was such a wonderful story. Maybe you want to share it with people that are watching.
For a spirit event in Norway with another medium friend of mine, Darren Britton, and Darren is known worldwide for his skills as a medium. He's an incredible person to watch. But we were working for a friend of mine, Goldsworthy, and they'd asked me, Darren was teaching mediumship, I was teaching trance. So we were in separate rooms at this big hotel in Bergen in Norway. And they'd asked if I would do a trance demonstration for the students at the end of the day. So Darren brought all of his students into the room and he sat next to me. If you're doing a trance demonstration, it's always wise to have somebody sitting next to you because they can then control the audience and keep an eye on the medium, because the medium is going into a trance state. If somebody starts causing problems in the room, you need somebody there who can organise it.
Yeah.
So halfway through the trance demonstration, from what Darren tells me, they leaned me towards him and said, be prepared to call the child back. They call me the child. I think it's because I'm so excited. That's for me when I'm doing mediumship. And yes, be prepared to call the child back. We want to show you what we can do with the energy in the room that's been generated this weekend. So as they finished saying that to him through me, the fire alarm went off. And everyone started gathering their bags and everything. And I suddenly realised I could hear Darren. I'd come from this place of nothingness, which is like, I presume, the state of bliss that some Tibetan monks aim for. You get to this space where it's so still and so calm and there's nothing, but it is blissful.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realised I could hear Darren calling me. And I remember sort of opening my eyes gradually and looking at the audience. And the students are all looking at me, but they're looking above my head and behind me. And I suddenly realised I could hear this noise. Saying to Darren, what's that noise? It's like I've woken up to this noise. And I went, is that the fire alarm? And I turned down on the wall right behind my head. Yeah. And I hadn't heard it. And we went out of the hotel and the fire crew turned up and they went all over the hotel. They couldn't find any reason for the fire alarm.
No. It was a spirit world. Yeah.
And they were just showing what they could do with the energy that had been generated that weekend. I thought, how incredible is that?
I know, it's amazing.
And even if I'd been, because people say, what's the difference between trance and sleep? With trance, it's almost as if you're even further away. Because let's face it, if you were asleep and fire alarm went off right next to your head, you'd hit the roof, wouldn't you? You'd jump up.
You'd probably wake up, yeah.
And the student said to me, I couldn't, you didn't even flinch. You came back so slowly. And I said, well, that's because I was in trance. I really did not hear the fire alarm until I was almost back. And then I was saying, what's that noise? That goes to show the power of spirit.
Yeah, unbelievable. So do you think anybody can learn trance, or is it something you just have to practice, or is it something you have to go and see a teacher for? Or
it takes a lot of practice, and some people, especially people who say, oh, I can't meditate, my mind's too busy, it takes a lot of determination and your own personal mental strength to say, no, I'm going to do this, I am going to be quiet, I am going to still my mind. In the early days, I didn't even realise I was going into trance. We were doing meditation in our circle that I spoke to you about. But each week I was getting deeper and deeper. And when our teacher called the group back and then was asking people, oh, what did you get? And all these people went, oh, I rode on the back of a dolphin through the sea. Oh, I climbed on a cloud and I floated up to the sky. And they get to me and said, what did you get? And I went, nothing. And I used to feel really cheated because everyone had these wonderful adventures and I haven't had anything. And then one evening I just felt as if I was bubbling from the inside out, and it's the only way I can describe it. And it was incredible, and I know it was an energy thing, but I felt as if I had all these golden bubbles inside of me.
Yeah.
And all I remember was feeling, it's almost like ecstasy, feeling like ecstatic about it. Not the drug, I've never taken it.
No.
It's just
The
amazing.
feeling, yeah.
Yes.
And, happiness.
And all of a sudden I realised that I could hear my teacher calling me, and her voice was as if it was miles away down a corridor. And she'd go, Marlene, 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 Marlene. And all of a sudden, it's like she'd shouted at me, and I opened my eyes, and she was right in front of me. And she just said, you can't sit in this circle anymore. And I was devastated. You know, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? And on the way home, my friend Sue was saying, oh, that was horrible. She said, oh, we had G-force on our faces, and we could hear footsteps running up and down the room, and nobody could see anyone. And my friend Wendy had also gone off into trance at the same time as me, and she was also a very powerful trance medium. And we didn't realise at the time that we both had the potential for physical mediumship.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you that, because that's the beginnings of physical mediumship. Well, have you ever looked into that or tried it, or?
Well, my other friend who'd gone into trance at the same time as me, she set up a circle for my development, although they used to put her into trance as well. And that went on for a few years, but unfortunately she became really ill and passed, and so the circle folded. I don't know whether I would go back to physical mediumship, although every time I say that, something happens that's physical that...
Because it can be, I know someone who does physical mediumship, it can be quite a attack on your physical body, you know. You need to replenish with a lot of vitamins and stuff, so I've heard. So
absolutely. And it's whether you you know, a lot of mediums are absolutely devoted to physical mediumship. To be honest, to me, I think now, being a mum and I'm a nanny as well, I've got 2 grandchildren now, to me it would be too selfish. And some spiritually minded people would say to me, oh, you can't deny the spirit world, but I can't deny my family either. And we have to maintain a balance between the two, because when I look back, I was quite selfish with my spiritual development, and you know, I used to leave the girls at home with their dad and go off on courses and all sorts of things. I do now as well, but of course they're a lot older now, they're grown up now. But when I look back and I think, oh, you know, one of them was crying because she didn't want me to go to circle and I still went. It is a vocation. It's not something you dip into and of.
But there's got to be a balance somehow. I mean, most dads go to play football or something, so they're not always there. So I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a circle, you know.
It's the same with you and Jason. I know that you both run loads of workshops and courses and everything for people, but you probably struggle sometimes to find the balance between work and family, or vocation and family.
Yeah. I try to find a balance in it. I mean, it's easier for us because either Jason's here or I'm here, so that the kids, I mean, they actually see quite a lot of us, more than they would if we were working a normal job, so to say. But it is finding that space and balance between, and I've always been told by various mediums that the earthly life comes first, and that spirit would never demand you or ask of you to only do the spiritual work. They will always say your family and your earthly life comes first. That's what I've been taught anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I wouldn't, I know Jason sat for physical mediumship for a few years, and every week, and it takes up a lot from you, you know.
Yeah.
And he stopped now because it was just too much. And so I know how you feel, that wouldn't fit into your life at the moment, you know. But it's nice to know that the possibilities are there, and a lot of people have a lot of possibilities, I find anyway. And I know another one of your lovely possibilities is writing these beautiful little poems, which I find beautiful.
Yeah. I'm not getting very far with those at the moment. I've got so many of them, but publishers aren't really interested in poetry. They're not that interested in philosophy. They all want the next big blockbuster fiction. You know, you can't even find a poetry agent around here. I've looked everywhere and I can't find one. So
we'll just have to keep watching your Facebook to read your
poems.
You will. So, just to wrap the interview, what are your plans for the future? What do you feel like spiritually seen then? When can we, well, because the COVID is a little bit difficult, but assuming everything returns to normal.
Assuming, yes. Or whatever that new normal will be. I'd like to carry on teaching. I love teaching. There's nothing I love more to inspire people, and then to see a student saying, I can't believe I just did that. And you know, I love planning and coming up with new ideas for teaching them as well, and something that's going to keep them engaged and let them realise that you can learn and you can be serious about learning, but you can still have fun while you're learning. Because there's one thing I have learned in all the years I've been working, is that the spirit world loves laughter. And some of the greatest inspirers that I've met have always had a good sense of humour.
Yeah.
You know, the likes of Eamon Downey, Mavis Patilla, Simone Key, you know, just to name a few. Eileen Davis, they all have that sense of humour with them. And Lynn Cottrell, Maureen Mernon, they're very warm ladies who have such a sense of humour, but they sort of pull you in, and it's like you're part of that big family for however long you're there with them. Tony Stockwell, he's got a brilliant sense of humour, a wicked sense of humour, but everybody learns on his courses and his weekends. So and I like to do the same. I love to inspire people, and light the same fire in them that is in me is a passion, really. So I'd like to do more teaching. I'm hoping to go back to Norway, hoping to take a man that you know very well with
I might just tag along.
It's a beautiful country and the people there are wonderful. So so I'd like to carry on with my travel, but teaching is my main thing now. I don't do that many one-on-one sittings these days. It got to the stage where, you know, sometimes some of your clients start to think that you belong to them, and you'll get phone calls at midnight because they need someone to talk to, or 3 o'clock in the morning, or and you become their prop rather than someone that they just visit when the need is. So plus,
that's not right.
I've got a busy house, I've got a busy home, so it's time that I can slot them in, that other people aren't coming in and out all the time.
It's quite funny when you're saying you wanted to ignite the fire in students, because I remember, I think it was maybe the first or the second weekend that you were with us teaching, and I can't remember what year it was, but it was a while ago. And you, I joined in on the weekend, and Marlene was teaching. And then towards the end of the weekend, she came up to me and she said, you know what, I'm really pissed off with you. And I was like, why? What have I done? And she said, you've got spirit world right behind you and you're just ignoring them all the time. You don't want to do it. And this was before I got into spirituality. And of course, Jason had said this to me many times. And then you'd said it. And then I think the year after, I was in a course with Eamon Downey, and he sort of said more or less the same thing in a private session. I was like, goodness me, I got to start listening to these people. So you definitely ignited a fire in me there. And I think, you know, once COVID is over and we'll be allowed to travel, you will inspire many, many students all over the world. If you want to know more about Marlene, you can find her on www.marlene-woolgar.com or on Facebook, where she is, and then you can learn more about her. So thank you very much for joining me. I've really enjoyed this, and
thank you.
I look forward to the day that you can come and visit us again, or we can come to England and visit you, and it'll be lovely.
Most definitely.
Thank you for spending the time with me, and yeah, if you're enjoying these interviews that I put on my YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and then you'll be warned every time a new interview gets put on. Or just give me a like, which would be really nice as well. And thank you for now.
Thank you.